You jumped in to help them swim, but they didn't move. They didn't try. They just held you until you both began to sink. And still, you called it compassion. You told yourself helping is always good, giving is always right. But here's the truth. You can drown from saving the wrong person. Because not everyone wants to rise. Some just want to be carried, and the longer you stay, the heavier they get, until their story becomes your weight, their chaos becomes your silence. And you forget, you had your own shore to swim toward. This isn't about giving up, it's about knowing the line, that invisible threshold where kindness ends and self-destruction begins. We've all crossed it, and it never feels heroic, just heavy. So now, we redraw it, quietly, clearly, without apology. The world tells you, be kind, be available, be helpful. But no one says to who, how much, at what cost. Because not all help heals. Some help feeds dependency, fuels escape, cements the very problem. You tried to fix, you give them time, they give you guilt. You give them answers, they give you silence. You give them chances, they give you the same wound again, and still you help. Not because they need it, but because you've forgotten you're allowed to protect your peace. The Stoics helped with measure, not from impulse, not from guilt. They asked, does this uplift both of us, or just sink me slower? Because if your help kills your energy, steals your clarity, and leaves them exactly the same, that's not virtue, that's self-erasure. Let this be the moment you stop bleeding just to prove you care. Some people don't need saving. They need to face the depth on their own. You can carry someone for a while, but if they never stand, your legs start to shake. You tell yourself, maybe they just need time. Maybe they don't see it yet. Maybe one more push will do it. But what if they already decided not to rise? Some people don't want solutions. They want sympathy. They want someone to stay down with them. Because standing means effort, responsibility, letting go of the story that kept them safe. The Stoics didn't hate weakness, but they didn't glorify staying there. They reached a hand only when the other was ready to grab it. Not to beg, not to pull dead weight, but to meet motion with motion. So if you've been carrying someone who's not even trying, let go. Not to abandon, but to remind them the ground feels different when no one's holding you anymore. Let this be the first boundary. Don't climb for someone who won't lift a finger. Some people don't want to change. They want a buffer, a shield, a way to avoid the consequences they created. And your help becomes that shield. You think you're supporting, but really, you're interrupting their lesson. Every time you clean the mess, they make it again. Every time you soften the blow, they stop bracing for impact, because now they know you'll show up, you'll fix it, you'll carry what they refuse to own. The Stoics didn't carry others' weight unless it was asked, with humility, with effort, with willingness. But to enable, to shield someone from reality. They chose to ignore. That's not help, that's delay. And delays don't build people, they trap them. So step back, let life do what it does, let them meet what they've been hiding from. You're not cruel, you're just done being the wall that keeps them from the mirror. Let this be your second boundary. Help stops where accountability begins. Not every request for help is pure. Some come wrapped in guilt, in silence, in the look that says, if you leave now, you're the bad one. And suddenly, you're not helping. You're obeying. You don't want to disappoint. You don't want to seem selfish. You don't want them to hurt. But behind that is a hook. And they know exactly where to set it. Some people don't want assistance. They want control, disguised as need. The Stoics saw through this. They didn't serve guilt, they served truth. And truth is simple. If your help makes you smaller while they stay the same, it's not a gift, it's a trade. And the price is you. So next time you feel that pull, that quiet pressure, that unspoken "you owe me," pause. You don't. You gave, you tried, and now you leave. Let this be your third boundary. Help freely, but never under emotional blackmail. They listen, they nod, they agree. And then they do nothing. again and again and again. You spend hours offering insight, pulling wisdom from your scars, giving what no one gave you, and they leave, feeling better, but never changed. Because for them, the talk is enough. They don't want action, they want relief. A moment of borrowed strength before returning to exactly what broke them. The Stoics value discipline over dialogue, direction over comfort. They didn't speak to be heard. They spoke to spark movement. And if there was none, they moved on. Because words should be invested, not wasted. So if someone keeps coming back with the same story, the same hurt, the same excuses, don't be the echo chamber. Let this be your fourth boundary. Your wisdom is a gift, not a loop. They always hurt, always drained, always surrounded by unfair. You offer a hand, they collapse harder. You offer a way out, they explain why it won't work. Because the pain isn't the prison, it's the spotlight. Their suffering isn't something to solve, it's something they wear, to be seen, to be justified, to be rescued again. And you become the audience, the unpaid therapist, the one who claps for their tragedy. But the Stoics didn't worship wounds, they respected healing. Quiet growth, unaired recovery. They knew pain is real, but victimhood is a role, and some are addicted to it. So stop showing up to the same performance. You can care and still walk away. Let this be your fifth boundary. Not all cries want rescue. Some just want attention. You show them the facts, the patterns, the consequences. They nod, then turn away. Because truth isn't what they seek. Comfort is. They don't want clarity. They want permission to keep pretending, to keep the illusion alive, to avoid the pain of being wrong, to blame something else forever. And the more you point at the fire, the more they say, it's not that hot, it's not even real. The Stoics didn't beg people to see. They revealed once, then stepped back, because you can't force eyes open that refuse the light. And the longer you try, the more frustrated you become, the more drained, the more lost in someone else's denial. So stop being the flashlight in a room someone chose to darken. Let this be your sixth boundary. You can offer truth, but you don't have to fight someone's fantasy. You keep giving, time, effort, presence, but they act like it's owed, expected. Bare minimum, no thank you, no pause, no shift, because they never saw it as a gift, they saw it as supply. The more you offer, the more invisible it becomes, until your help turns into a duty that they didn't ask for, but now demand. The Stoics gave with honor, but never without balance, never to be erased. Because a gift that isn't received with presence becomes extraction, and no soul stays full when always poured into the wrong hands. So check this. Do they notice when you stop, or only when you resume? If the only time they feel you is when you're useful, you were never appreciated, just accessed. Let this be your seventh boundary. If it's never received with gratitude, it's no longer yours to give. They could stand, they could walk, they could fly, but why would they when you keep carrying them? You think it's kindness, but to them, it's convenience. Every time you solve it, they unlearn. Every time you catch them, they fall sooner. Not because they can't, but because they don't have to. You became the system, the backup, the substitute spine for a body that works fine. The Stoics taught strength but not dependency. They gave support with an end in mind. Because real help doesn't create reliance, it restores self-reliance. So ask, would they survive if you stepped away? Would they grow if your voice went silent? If not, you're not helping, you're holding them back. Let this be your eighth boundary. You're here to lift, not to carry forever. They never ask for too much, just a little, again and again and again. Until your time is gone, your space is gone, your energy is gone. But they never see it, because to them the limit never existed. You set no boundary, so they kept stepping. You never said no, so they kept reaching. And now you're empty from feeding someone who never knew when to stop. The Stoics gave, but they guarded their essence, because they knew if you don't protect your line, someone will always cross it. And not because they're evil, but because you trained them to. That access is endless, so pause, redraw the line. not to punish, but to preserve. Let this be your ninth boundary. When your help isn't met with respect, it must be met with a firm stop. You bring them truth, clear, raw, undeniable, and they flinch, look away, change the subject. Because they're not confused. They're invested in the illusion. To believe it's not their fault. To believe they're the victim. To believe the world owes them something for how much they've suffered. You try again. You soften it. You beg them to see. But the Stoics knew, clarity can't be given to closed eyes. Some people don't lack truth, they lack the will to face it. And when you help them hide, even with love, you become part of their blindness. So stop. You're not cruel for stepping back. You're not heartless for no longer feeding delusion. You're just done dragging truth into a room where lies are worshipped. Let this be your final boundary. You can offer the light, but never become the shadow they hide in. You can still be kind and walk away. You can still care and say no. You can still love and let someone fall. Because helping isn't about how much you give, it's about knowing when giving stops being good. The Stoics gave with purpose, not impulse, not guilt, not fear of looking selfish. They knew, if your help diminishes you, weakens your spine, blinds your clarity, then it's no longer help, it's sacrifice. And you were never meant to burn for someone who won't even stand in your light. So now, redraw the line, hold your center, and know this, sometimes the greatest gift is letting them face what they kept running from. Not with anger, not with blame, just with stillness. That's not giving up, that's wisdom.